Good morning. We'll call to order the Wednesday, August 14, 2019 City Council meeting. This time, please join us for an invocation with Councilperson McKellar leading us.
Gracious Father, thank you so much for today, and thank you so much for the blessings that you continue to shower from up above. We come just now thanking you and asking you to bless us today. Bless our mayor, bless our city council, bless all the members of the city of Tyler and its citizens. Pray that we will be able to conduct the business of this city, and we would do it with you in mind. Father, we come just to say thank you. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for your son who died on the cross, that we may be able to live. And Father, we say now that we begin our business, and that you will be with us from now to eternity. In Jesus' name we pray. And Amen. Let my Father's children say, Amen. 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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time, we have no minutes, so we will come down front, I believe.
We can, sir. Y'all want to come?
Would y'all like to come down front for a 3 presentation?
Morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
The Blueprint Blue Ribbon Award is presented this month to an employee who's placed the highest premium on the responsiveness to citizens' needs. The program was started in April 1st, 2004 to recognize exceptional employee performance. Ideal candidates for the award are employees whose ideas or suggestions have improved productivity, saved money, improved efficiency, or improved employee morale. This officer has been employed with the City of Tyler for over 29 years, and during this time has had the opportunity to work in various assignments throughout the department. His most recent assignment has made him a valuable part of the Community Response Unit. Prior to and during his tenure with the Community Response Unit, he has continued to work to identify and assist homeless individuals in Tyler. This officer participates in committees on homelessness, regularly works with the Highway 80 Rescue Mission, Salvation Army, and other nonprofits to find resources, housing, and employment for people. He has worked with other departments to help to clean up for homeless camps and find housing for those affected. This officer has worked to build relationships with the homeless and can regularly be heard calling each other by first name. Although many of the people that he works to help choose to not accept assistance, he continues to work on their behalf. He takes his job seriously and is compassionate to those citizens in need. He comes to work with a positive attitude, knowing he will work to help others. He, without a doubt, goes above and beyond as a community representative of the Tyler Police Department. For his intense commitment to helping others in need and his unwavering dedication to the citizens of Tyler, it is recommended the City Council recognize Officer Johnny Green as the Tyler recipient of the Blueprint Blue Ribbon Award.
Well deserved, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Here you go, Johnny. You go. Hey, Johnny, it's got your name on it, I believe. No, it doesn't yet. It will. Thank you, Johnny.
I have a kind of a long presentation that goes with this. I didn't know if y'all wanted to sit down for that part. Are you sure?
Just roll on in.
Okay.
Yes, we will be sitting for about 2 hours, so.
Well, good morning, Mayor and Council. For the newer council members, my name is Angela Bennis, and I'm the Community Coordinator for Keep Tyler Beautiful. We are presenting our Gold Star Award, and we like to give an update of everything that we did to earn this award when we present this. Keep Tyler Beautiful has been a part of our community for almost 25 years now and strives to make a difference in our community each and every year by working to educate and encourage citizens actively participate in improving the sustainability of the city of Tyler. Keep Tyler Beautiful is proud to be supported and affiliated on a national level by Keep America Beautiful and on a state level by Keep Texas Beautiful. Keep Texas Beautiful awards affiliates each year for their efforts. This year during the Keep Texas Beautiful statewide conference, Keep Tyler Beautiful was awarded their 13th consecutive Gold Star Award. Only 61 of over 200 affiliates are given this award. Keep Tyler Beautiful was awarded the Gold Star Award because of the following efforts in 2018. Our Beauty in the Box program. This program takes ordinary traffic signal boxes and turns them into pieces of art. 2018 was a huge year for this program with 18 boxes being sponsored and wrapped. We now have 41 boxes wrapped with art by local artists. This program is completely funded by sponsors. Our Tyler Against Graffiti program is a graffiti abatement program that strives to cover up graffiti within 72 hours of being reported. Tyler Against Graffiti has covered or cleaned graffiti at 139 places so far in 2019. We are happily seeing a decrease in graffiti in Tyler. Reports can be made by the public by calling the tag hotline or emailing Keep Tyler Beautiful. Our Beauty and Business Award. Awards recognizes local businesses for the appearance of their building and landscaping, being litter-free, maintaining a neat and clean dumpster area, and having attractive signage. Nominations are made by the public, and the Keep Tyler Beautiful Board votes on those nominations each quarter. Listed on the screen are some of the businesses we have recently recognized with this award. Our Adopt a Spot program. We partner with citizens, organizations, businesses, or in different groups to adopt sections of our roadways and parks and pledge to clean these areas a minimum of 4 times a year. Currently, we have 45 miles of roadway, 13 parks, and all 3 college campuses adopted. Volunteers put 1,501 hours into this program in 2018 and cleaned up 262 bags of trash. Each spring, Keep Tyler Beautiful hosts the Great Tyler Cleanup. We partner with the Don't Mess with Texas Trash Off, hosted by TxDOT. This annual cleanup is our biggest event and continues to grow every year. In 2019, we had 320 volunteers. They gave their time to clean up over 3,000 pounds of trash across Tyler. We host this event at Southside Park, but all of our Adopt a Spot groups clean their areas during this event, and we also have a downtown group cleaning up. We received over $4,000 in monetary and in-kind donations in 2019. Keep Tyler Beautiful, of course, celebrates Earth Day each year. We get to celebrate at Caldwell Zoo. Keep Tyler Beautiful helps to educate children and their parents on environmental issues and how they can make a positive impact in their community. We also celebrate Tyler Recycles Day in conjunction with America Recycles Day. In November, Keep Tyler Beautiful hosts this directly from our downtown collection center to help promote the center, as well as to educate the public regarding recycling. This year, citizens brought in over 16,000 pounds of recyclables. We also offer free document shredding and battery recycling at this event. Keep Tyler Beautiful gives tours of our downtown recycle center to help educate citizens with our process and how to utilize the collection center. This past fiscal year, we had approximately 160 adults and children come through the center for a tour. And some other highlights from this past year, Keep Tyler Beautiful partners with the Tyler Trees Committee to host an Arbor Day planting each year. This year, we partnered with TJC to host the Arbor Day at their West Campus. UT Tyler also hosted an Arbor Day celebration on their campus, and we hosted a seedling planting at Gasaway Park. Altogether, we had 746 volunteers plant 82 trees and 980 seedlings. Our second annual Park Service Day was hosted in September of 2018. Volunteers completed park improvement projects at 4 different parks, including repainting bathrooms and railings, cleaning litter, laying new mulch on playgrounds, and more. Our third annual Park Service Day will be this September 21st. We are very excited to be partnering with Kaboom and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas to be building a new playground at Gasaway Park. Keep Tyler Beautiful hosted a youth advisory committee in 2017. We bring together youth from the local high schools and colleges in hopes to grow our connection with the youth and young adults in the community and increase their involvement in environmental efforts. We currently have 15 members of this committee. In 2018, we brought back Project Daffodil after 3 years of not hosting the program. This is a daffodil bulb sale that helps beautify Tyler in the spring when the bulbs bloom. It also serves as a fundraiser for Keep Tyler Beautiful. The sale will open again next Monday, August 19th. Keep Tyler Beautiful was very excited to be part of the Hillside Park renovation last year and created the Hillside Art Wall Project. 19 panels were painted by local artists to create a beautiful art piece on this 200-foot art wall. A few partnerships worth mentioning. We work alongside the Tyler Trees Committee for Arbor Day and other projects. The UT Tyler Freshman Camp hosts a service day and brings hundreds of students to clean the Faulkner Nature Trails. And TJC has created their own Keep TJC Beautiful committee, working on sustainability projects on their campus. Last, the Keep Tyler Beautiful board is the driving force behind all of these programs and projects. We have 11 board members that volunteer for all of our events and help spread the word about our program. In 2018, they volunteered 224 hours. This program would not be successful without them. Keeping Tyler Beautiful is no easy task. We have a wide range of diverse and excited group of volunteers, board members, citizens, and businesses that help make this organization successful. We also recognize that we would not achieve everything that we do without the support of our city leaders. We are extremely honored to be able to help make Tyler a place we are all proud to call home. It is recommended that the City Council accept the Gold Star Affiliate Award from Keep Texas Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Y'all do a great job. All board members that are here, you're welcome to come up if you'd like. Okay. Okay, good. Come on. You get front and center. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. I believe we have one more presentation. Is that right?
Yes, one more award.
Okay.
All right, this is a request that the City Council consider accepting the Tree City USA recognition from the Arbor Day Foundation. The Tree City USA recognition has been granted to the City of Tyler by the Arbor Day Foundation for the 10th year in a row, demonstrating environmental improvement and a higher level of tree care. Becoming a Tree City USA was a Tyler First initiative in order to focus on improving our urban forest in the City of Tyler. Trees are vital to the infrastructure of our community and provide numerous environmental, social, and economic benefits. The Arbor Day Foundation cites that trees are one piece of the community infrastructure that actually increases in value over time. The City of Tyler achieves the Tree City USA recognition by meeting the program's 4 requirements: a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, an annual community forestry budget of at least $2 per capita, and an Arbor Day observance and proclamation. The City of Tyler also sponsors the Tyler Trees Committee, who is the driving force behind all of our tree programs, educational outreach, and Arbor Day events. The Tree City USA program is sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service and the National Association of State Foresters. It is recommended that the City Council accept the Tree City USA recognition from the Arbor Day Foundation. And we do have some of our Trees Committee members here also.
Great. Y'all come on up. We got more coming. Y'all come on. Wait a second. Y'all come on. Hey, man. Good. Nice to see you. Yeah, I know. Great, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Get on my jack.
Good morning, City Manager.
Good morning, Mayor.
We will move on to P1.
Ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mayor Hines and City Council, it is our privilege to be before you today to present the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 programs and services for the City of Tyler. The format of our presentation today aligns with the organization's strategic plan, which in itself is tied back to Tyler First and the City Council's direction. This presentation provides insight into how the budget supports the momentum of the city to make progress on its missions and goals. We start with the City of Tyler's mission and vision of our services to this community. Our mission is to serve the community to make a positive difference. This and our vision for performance excellence are our guide for the services that we provide each day and the planning that we make for a better tomorrow. We as the public servants of the city are here to serve the people that make up Tyler, and it is this guiding principle that influences the budget we present today. We are continuing the path that was set out in 1995 with the blueprint as adopted by the city leaders and continue to today with this elected body. There was a direction set for the community where we could be debt-free on our property tax levies and focusing on essential services in a quality manner for our citizens and businesses. This was further solidified in our Tyler First vision, in which our partners joined us at the table to set the future of the city, with the understanding that it is not just the city's role to provide services for our community, but a group effort of government, education, faith institutions, business, and industry to enhance our city together. The proposed programs and services before you, totaling $208 million for the full fiscal year 2020 budget of operations, capital improvement projects, and over 3 dozen funds, represents the input and analysis of hundreds of staff, reviewing their ability to enhance their services and answer to the citizens who've asked for improvements. We do not shy away from finding opportunities for improvements. And in order to be an organization of continual improvement, we are able to identify what works, what doesn't work, and when to make adjustments that will provide better services for our citizens. The budget process forces the review and analysis to refine our services. This means cutting funding where appropriate and increasing resources where the programs are having success. It involves understanding priorities of the community, such as parks improvements as identified by the council, or public safety as shown in citizen surveys. This budget reflects those urgencies of the community will and provides responsible solutions. The 2017-2021 strategic plan focuses on 6 core areas: sound financial management, sustainable infrastructure, performance excellence, talented and experienced workforce, public-private partnerships, diverse economy, and prepare for growth. We use these 6 core areas to plan, prioritize, and measure for organizational success. The City of Tyler gets results. These 6 priorities are the focus of our activities and enhancements, as we'll detail in this presentation. Our first priority is sound financial management. You see this demonstrated through our fiscal forecasts, financial plan reviews, and ability to shift in spending based on economic conditions. Our decline in sales tax revenue during fiscal year 2016 and fiscal year 2017 demonstrated our versatility to respond by freezing vacant positions, reducing fund transfers towards maintenance, and shifting replacement schedules. In fiscal year 2018, we were able to unfreeze all key positions, but are still mindful of the need to enhance fiscal stability through incremental and conservative growth. We must also remain responsive to surface level needs by evaluating other revenue options. This is demonstrated in the 37 different funds that the city operates, ranging from enterprise funds, such as utilities and airport, to specially designated funds for street maintenance or tourism. From 2015 to 2018, the city had struggled with general fund revenues which pay for those services that do not have a direct revenue source. This goes towards police, fire, parks, streets, library, municipal court, and general government services. Several factors have come into play during last year's budget development that provided recovery and strengthened the general fund. We look forward to another year of modest but incremental growth in general fund revenues. Total revenues for fiscal year 2019-2020 are projected to be $3,756,323, roughly 5.5% greater than the fiscal year 2019 budget. We've seen sales and use tax revenue experience a growth again, increasing 7.01% between fiscal year 2018 and fiscal year 2019. We are projecting a cumulative 4.95% growth for fiscal year 2019, although we should note that we have developed our projections on sales and use tax differently than in past years. Sales and use tax is generated off of several different components, ranging from retail, restaurants, service, wholesalers, and agriculture and mining. We developed revenue projections off of each of these different components as they show different trends during the past few years. The oil and gas industry especially influences certain areas of the sales tax, especially with mining and service. And we work to balance the volatility of this primary revenue stream with more nuanced projections. The volatility of the sales and use tax is still heavily tied to the ups and downs of the oil and gas economy. We've seen the impacts of oil and gas downturns on sales tax revenue in 2016 and 2017, causing the city to reduce services and make expenditure cuts into public safety programs to make up for the unexpected drop in revenue. With the 5% growth that we saw in sales tax revenue for fiscal year 2019 and expenditures coming in lower than budgeted, we are recommending using $3 million of our end-of-year fund balance for this fiscal year to modify the means that we maintain our general fund reserve accounting. We work to maintain a 15% reserve fund for general fund services, and our current method of accounting for this depends on accrued revenue expected in the year. With this $3 million, we recommend moving to combine with the $3 million in the oil and gas fund to have a combined $6 million in the rainy day fund for operational services that can be fluid and available during future recessions. This rainy day fund will provide stability for essential services such as public safety during that recession period and rebuilt during growth periods. Property taxes continue to make up approximately 31% of the revenue collected by the general fund, and we'll go in more detail on the property tax revenue projections later in this presentation. The city's franchise fees are budgeted to remain at the same level as last year's budget. It should be noted that the state passed legislation this year that reduces some of the amounts we collect in this category, specifically related to telephone and cable TV franchise fees. The legislation allows a company that provides both cable TV and telephone services to pay only on the service that generates more revenue. In most cases, this will be cable TV and will reduce the amount that the city collects in telephone franchises by $236,000 for fiscal year 20 and for $314,000 for fiscal year 21. I do want to note that after some decline, fines and penalty revenues appear to have stabilized. The projected revenues for fiscal year 2020 budget remain relatively flat compared to the fiscal year 2019 budget. While this is a budget presentation and the general thought will be to focus on financials, we would like to highlight this area and the strides our staff have made to turn this from an operation focused on revenue generation to an operation focused on community and citizenship building. In 2015, we began a serious review of practice and processes using a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt study to determine areas for improvement and effectiveness. This study, along with the promotion of Nicole Johnson to Municipal Court Administrator, shifted our court practices toward a greater sense of fairness in our justice system. Our emphasis during the past 4 years with our judges and staff was to increase citizenship and community building through the court process. We expanded community service options, including financial health workshops, and gave credit for enrolling in substance abuse programs. Our payment plan system provides for citizens to set their own payment plans and modify it if needed, as well as mix community service with payment options. We agree that jail time should be the ultimate last resort for the city's misdemeanor tickets. At its highest levels, we were paying $335,000 in fiscal year 2013 for jail time services related to people we put in jail for tickets and failure to pay. Through changes we've instituted with safe harbor policy at the municipal court building and judges seeing defendants to determine if they can get on a payment plan rather than go to jail, we anticipate paying $34,000 for this fiscal year in relation to jail time services with Smith County Jail. We began in June for the first session of our monthly night court for our citizens to better accommodate their hours of work, along with addition of special dockets for special groups such as veterans to allow for items on dockets that may be too sensitive to discuss in open court. The court staff conduct community outreach at local colleges and the church and community luncheons. Court staff currently have an 82% approval rating from their customers based on the treatment and attention that they provide. We are recommending a modest tax rate increase from 24.4452 cents to 25.99 cents per $100 valuation for fiscal year 20. With the net taxable value of $9.06 billion within the city limits, the additional rate increase of 1.5448 cents will generate $2,038,939 over the current rate, with a full net taxable revenue amount to be $22,545,337. At our proposed rate of 25.99 cents per $100 valuation, a home valued at $150,000 will be assessed city property taxes of approximately $389.85 per year, or $32.48 per month. This 1.5448 cent increase would translate to $23.17 increase for the year for the homeowner of the same $150,000 home. It is important to remember that the city water and wastewater are enterprise funds. They run like a business and are not taxpayer supported. Instead, all those using the system are charged user fees that appear in the form of monthly bills. We continue our commitment to reinvesting in our aging water and wastewater systems, yet at the same time evaluate our standing with other utilities in similar sized markets. Using the survey data collected by the Texas Municipal League on utility rates, we see that we are still lower than all other average utility rates in Texas in different volumetric usage. Our maintenance and repair program for our water and wastewater system follows the blueprint model of cash funding to the full extent that we can. Last year, we saw $9.6 million in utility system improvements. During the next 10 years, we expect to cash flow $56 million in utility system improvements. For fiscal year 2020 alone, we intend to spend approximately $11.8 million in cash on water and wastewater system improvements. The proposed utility rate increases mirror the rate modifications that we set for the current fiscal year. There will be a 5% base rate increase, which equates to a 60-cent base rate increase on water and an 81-cent base rate increase on wastewater, along with a $3.24 increase on the regulatory compliance fee, which is directly linked back to debt service payments for wastewater system improvements required by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. The increase for residential users who consume 5,000 gallons of water a month will be $6.01 per month. For those industrial and businesses that use more than 25,000 gallons per month, they will see a base rate increase as well. While the impact will vary depending upon the amount of water that is used by the customer, for those commercial customers consuming 30,000 gallons of water per month, as an example, we'll see an increase of $13.51 per month. The regulatory compliance fee is a component of our strategy to address the EPA consent decree for our wastewater collection system. It provides revenues towards debt on wastewater line improvements, but is one part of a larger program. In February 2019, the City of Tyler implemented a fats, oils, and grease fog control program. This ordinance clearly defines requirements that are necessary to allow the city to implement the consent decree requirements, as well as bring Tyler more in line with other municipalities that already regulate grease grit reduction services. After investigation of manholes for wastewater lines 10-inch in diameter and larger, 897 manholes were identified as meeting the EPA requirements for necessary rehabilitation. These manholes were broken down into manageable packages of 224 manholes for the western seal, 258 for the eastern seal, 415 for repair and replacement, in an attempt to produce more manageable packages for crews and contractors. The first phase of the consent decree rehabilitation work has begun with a sealing of 224 manholes located roughly in the western portion of the City of Tyler wastewater collection system. This remediation is the result of year one assessment work performed in 2017. We reviewed the utilities fees associated with new construction to ensure that our costs for materials and services are captured. With this in mind, we are only recommending adjustments to our water and sewer tap fees for cost recovery of these services. As a comparison for our solid waste rates for residential pickup, we offer a premium service at a considerably low monthly rate that provides an average 8 collections per month. Our solid waste staff consistently receive high marks during the citizen surveys, always delivering top-rated services and demonstrating their call-to-serve commitment with outstanding customer service. We did make adjustments to our residential rate with this current fiscal year and continue our annual review of CPI rates for future increases. We continue to incrementally move residential customer rates so that residential services are not subsidized by commercial accounts and better reflect the true cost of service. The coming year's rate change based on our CPI increase of 1.9% is 31 cents, bringing the monthly rate to $16.70. We conducted a Lean Six Sigma study on our tire disposal cost recovery. The current program allows for up to 4 tires each month that can be placed at the curb for collection with no fee, as well as drop-off at the recycling center for $5 a tire at any time. We've seen an increase in the number of tires placed at the curbs, which we expect may be related to others using our program for free disposal. Beginning on October 1st, we will change the program to have customers call in for collections of the tires at the curb and a fee of $5 per tire assessed with the collection. We anticipate this will provide $65,000 per year in savings on collections, plus additional revenue from the curbside pickup towards solid waste services. We have prepared a notice in both English and Spanish that can be distributed in August with the utility bills. As we begin a review of our property valuations and use of the property tax collections to advance our public safety and general government services, it's useful to consider how our collections match with comparable hub cities in Texas. With the lowest rate in the state, we also collect a relatively small amount of taxes as compared to our other marketplace competitors. There are 2 positives that come with this. First, we do have lower rates and collections because of the blueprint philosophy that we still believe in, and which has resulted in not having to levy an interest and sinking rate for debt on our citizens and businesses. Every dollar we collect from property taxes goes into our public safety, our streets, our parks, our library services that work for our citizens. This disciplined approach towards financial management has led the city to being recognized with a AAA bond rating on its general fund and a AA+ rating on our utility system. Second, I didn't use the phrase marketplace competitors on accident. We do compete with our fellow municipalities for economic development and quality of life projects. Our tax rate and small number of regulations provide an edge for the city of Tyler, and the relatively few tax abatements that we have offered in the past demonstrates that businesses really do want to locate here for reasons beyond cash incentives. As we consider a tax rate increase, we do want to note that there are protections for our senior citizens on regulated income. The city provides a tax ceiling freeze for those over the age of 65 or persons with disabilities. The resulting forfeited potential revenue in 2019 equates to 1.33 cents on the tax rate, or $1,034,065. The major change in the property valuations for fiscal year 2019, maybe I jumped a slide, sorry about that. The major change in property valuations for fiscal year 2019 tied directly to the addition of the former ETMC, now UT Health, East Texas, as taxable value on the rolls. The purchase of the hospital system added $197 million, which equates to $482,618 in additional revenue for last year. This year, we experienced closer to a regular rate of growth in values and additions, which reflects the confidence that our citizens and newcomers have in Tyler as a location for residential, business, and industrial growth. The mayor's quote on investment in infrastructure and public safety could be considered the theme of this budget. Our programs and functions for the coming year build on the foundations that we have set for protecting our assets in the streets, water, and wastewater systems, our parks, our facilities, our vehicles, and equipment that we own. This requires increased maintenance and improvements for the $1.018 billion in City of Tyler fixed assets. This moves into our second phase, our second focus of the strategic plan, sustainable infrastructure. We are estimated to spend $50 million on capital projects and equipment during the coming year. This investment will improve the water quality, wastewater service, streets and drainage, parks, traffic, and equipment that is provided to protect and enhance the lives of the 105,000 people who call Tyler home, as well as the 250,000 that make up our daytime population who are in our care while in our city limits. Since its adoption in 1995, the half-cent fund for capital projects has been an incredible success story for Tyler and serves as a model for responsible, sustainable capital program funding. Having served in other cities, I'm grateful that our city leaders had the foresight to create this source of cash to fund the capital improvement program on an ongoing basis rather than being dependent on debt to fund these projects. After 24 years of the program in action, I want to promote its impact on our city. We ran the model for what the addition of the property tax rate may be if we use debt on the $170 million we've spent since the half-cent adoption. Our rate would now be approximately 46 cents instead of 24 cents if we had to add an interest and sinking portion to the tax rate. If we didn't issue any further debt than the $170 million during the past 24 years in this model, we would not be able to fully pay that off and get to a tax rate of 25 cents until the year 2036. We also ran another comparison based on a hypothesis that was our slow and steady approach of using cash with half-cent having a similar or greater effect of funding capital projects than if we issued debt over the same period. We reviewed the City of Waco's debt issuances during the past 15 years and compared our capital projects from the half-cent fund with their debt-funded capital projects. Waco has a tax rate of 77.62 cents with 11 cents dedicated to repaying debt as compared to our 24-cent rate. We factored in the comparison what the difference in spending percentage of total budget for Tyler as compared to Waco and found that the comparison had us keeping pace with Waco's debt issuances over the span of the decade and a half. The difference is that we get to use each dollar collected toward the project rather than split between repaying the bond issuances and the interest on top of that. For the coming fiscal year, we have several projects that move forward to benefit traffic, quality of life, drainage, and public safety, using the $15.1 million we expect to generate and the available funds generated during the current fiscal year to potentially spend a total of $28.5 million from the half-cent fund. Fire Station number 1 at Palace and Gentry and Fire Station number 4 at Cherry Hill and Cumberland are under construction. The design phase for improvements for Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard are underway. We have improvements underway for Wildert and Fun Forest Parks along with drainage and roadway improvements. The half-cent fund will also continue to pay for the traffic modernization study that began this year, a major process of improvement to the connections between our traffic signals. We plan to cash fund an amazing $5.945 million in water system improvements with an additional $667,000 in bond-funded water system repairs. This continues the work of improving water quality throughout our city with the replacement of water lines, looping where appropriate, and the improvements of the filters at the Golden Road Water Treatment Plant. Fiscal year 2020 will also see significant investment in our wastewater system, as we expect to spend $5.821 million on projects, all paid in cash. Will continue to rehabbing the Southside Wastewater Treatment Plant, clarifier, and a lift station pump replacement. The primary treatment clarifier is an important step in the Southside wastewater treatment process. Restoring the primary clarifiers will protect the pumps and motors, increase the plant capacity, and better remove solids, resulting in cleaner water product for discharge in Mud Creek. We'll also continue to purchase easements for the proposed new regional wastewater treatment plant further south from Tyler as we begin planning toward the project, which is a major undertaking for our future. Regional cities like Tyler will play a crucial role in providing services and expertise to our neighbors as we continue to grow together. To that end, the City of Tyler purchased 219 acres southwest of Bullard 9 years ago. This year, the mayor has asked that we devote an additional 1 cent for the Quality Street Commitment Fund, bringing the pledged property tax commitment to 2 cents. This brings our funded amount to $1,546,952. Prior to fiscal year 2017, our asphalt seal coat program was funded with whatever we could carve out of the general fund beyond other funded services. The council set a goal of 81 to reach for the pavement condition index that is conducted on all city asphalt streets and set aside a penny from the tax rate to begin funding a street maintenance program. Last year, with the commitment of 1.25 cents of the tax rate for asphalt seal coat program, we were able to spend approximately $842,000. Our goal this year is to designate 2 cents of the tax rate for the asphalt seal coat program to continue progressing toward an average rating of 81. We will continue the overlay budget from half-cent fund of $3.5 million a year, which was the challenge set in the 2016 PCI review to maintain or improve the average rating. This year, we were able to maintain 27.7 lane miles with seal and onyx seal coat. With the additional penny added as part of the quality street commitment, we should see in fiscal year 2020 a total of 78.9 lane miles of seal and onyx seal coating on our public streets. This represents a 284% increase in our preventive maintenance, which enhances the conditions of our roads, our largest asset for future generations. We continue investing in citizen quality of life by investing in our parks. Last year saw great strides towards park and recreation enhancements. We developed a regional capital parks program funded by our commercial solid waste revenues projections and the Keep Tyler Beautiful tipping fee at the landfill. We combined this with funding dedicated from the half-cent fund to make improvements at Lindsay and Hillside parks and begin major renovations at Fun Forest, Woldert, Southside, Golden Road, and Gasaway parks. We secured community donations for projects such as the ADA playground begun at Southside Park and installed new features at Hillside Park, which allowed our dollars to go even further. We continue our mission to serve our community through our Parks and Recreation programs by continuing to reinvest in our services with the fiscal year 2020 budget. There is a sizable investment into our premier recreational facility, the Glass Recreation Center, with $107,582 towards improvements. This will include restroom renovation, new weight equipment, interior repainting, and the gym floor being resurfaced. Unfortunately, we are the victims at times of vandalism in our park restroom facilities throughout the city during nighttime hours. The fire in the Southside Park bathroom a couple of years ago put that bathroom out of commission for over half a year and cost approximately $75,000 to repair. We are requesting to install timer locks on all the park restroom facilities so that they are locked between dusk and dawn. This will work to prevent future damage to these facilities and reduce our costs. With the recent opening of the Legacy Trails, we now have over 4 miles of new trails to serve our citizens and visitors. With the additional funding of $25,000 that is proposed, we do ensure that they are maintained and mowed to provide a quality environment for those enjoying the natural beauty of the trails and woods that surround them. This year, we replaced our library roof. Cost savings in the amount of $179,000 and allowed more funding for facilities and equipment in this year's budget, and an estimated $500,000 in various roof repairs and replacements throughout the city. We plan to install new parking meters for the downtown that will allow for credit card, coin, and mobile payment, thus enhancing our citizens' experience. The majority of the expenditure, however, will be dedicated towards purchase of a new fire engine. In fiscal year 2019, we worked toward and are now proposing for fiscal year 2020 a more regular replacement schedule for our fire engines and ladder trucks to ensure that we have the highest functioning vehicles available to our firefighters. Engine trucks are frontline service vehicles that provide rapid response to all emergencies, responding to every service call, and have a life expectancy of 12 years. Ladder trucks are more specialized vehicles that provide aerial water flow and elevated rescue capability with an optimal life experience of 15 years. The replacement plan will assist Tyler Fire Department in fulfilling its mission to protect lives and property from fire and other hazards through incident mitigation, education, and prevention. Our third goal in the strategic plan is performance excellence. This organization has a long history of utilizing innovative programs in education with our employees to better them and better the community. Our commitment to excellence continues with the City of Tyler's focus on public safety. This year, we'll invest $38,000 for bunker gear. We'll purchase new rope rescue equipment and additional training certifications for our fire department. Additionally, we will retain an ISO consultant to evaluate fire department procedures which will allow us to apply for the highest possible ISO rating. The ISO rating is significant when homeowners or business owners request insurance coverage or when changes to existing policies occur. Insurance companies use many factors when determining the cost of insurance premiums. One major factor is the level of fire protection available to a community. Most insurance carriers rely on information provided by the ISO to determine the quality of fire protection available to a community when establishing insurance rates. Improving our ISO class ratings is an ongoing goal for the Tyler Fire Department. Our community is constantly growing, and the demand for fire and other emergency services is also increasing. We want to provide a consistent high level of service for our taxpayers in the City of Tyler, and the ISO PPC rating will let us know what the city's needs are to do just that. Tyler's ISO rating is currently a Class 2 following our last evaluation. We are working hard to maintain or improve our previous ISO ratings to possibly achieve lower insurance rates for our taxpayers. We plan to add 2 additional firefighter positions in April 2020. By slowly expanding department personnel, we hope to proactively keep pace with the city's growth and uphold our superior response times. We will also add a Step 23 and 25 certificate pay for both police department and the fire department, enabling us to be competitive and retain our most experienced public safety personnel. Speaking of police, we will add 2 additional patrol officers in April 2020, along with a patrol vehicle to support them. This allows more robust community policing and responsiveness to citizen concerns. Preventive policing through officer-initiated contacts, relationship building, and outreach supports our goal of exceeding our citizens' expectations and maintaining a safe community. In addition, we have planned expenditures from our asset forfeiture fund to make $60,000 in improvements on the gun range and $40,000 for load-bearing vests for our officers' safety. We continue our Lean Six Sigma program throughout the organization. Over the years, we have saved millions of dollars to the taxpayers in soft and hard savings. We continue to focus on savings, but have recently begun in the past years to prioritize enhancing our effectiveness to the citizen. You've heard a number of projects' impacts during this presentation, from the changes at municipal court to the tire recycling collections. Here's an additional project and its contribution that demonstrates the regular impact of Lean Six Sigma in this organization. With the help of the entire Parks program and assistance from one of our Lean Six Sigma black belts, the Oakwood complex was completely inventoried. Staff then used the 5S process to organize equipment and supplies. This inventory practice has sustained itself for 3 months now. This enhances efficiency by reducing staff time needed to locate equipment, spare parts, or supplies for maintenance of our parks and fields. It also enables leaner purchasing because the inventory provides a quick reference for materials. Additionally, 1/3 of our budget is dedicated to the salaries and benefits of the 850+ employees who serve this city. They range from streets and stormwater crews who are taking care of our roadways in the heat of the day and responding to drainage infrastructure issues 24/7, to the men on the fire engine headed to an emergency. The funding for these positions comes from multiple funds, including the various enterprise funds we have and the general fund. Of the approximately 850 employees, the majority work in our police and fire departments. 20% make up our utility staff, with 12% in general government functions such as parks, streets, library, and municipal court. As part of our city's blueprint for doing business, we want to build a sustainable approach to employee compensation that provides incremental merit-based pay increases. This year, we plan to offer all qualifying employees a merit-based increase of 2%, plus the ability to qualify for an additional 1% lump sum to be paid out quarterly. We conducted market pay rate studies on 83 positions this year in order to continue to keep our employees at comparable pays for other cities. This resulted in 157 employees receiving a higher pay rate than they had received in the year before. We hope to conduct at least another 43 market rate studies this coming year on positions that we see as potentially not at market rates or have difficulty in recruiting. You will see this focus on workforce investment reflecting in our increasing retention from 2014 to the present. Through employee engagement and staying competitive with our market comparisons, we hit a new high for the city on 92.2% retention of employees. We continue to work on improvement and building up an exceptional team of public servants for our community. During the past 3 years, we have made substantial adjustments to our health fund and its policies. As a self-insured institution, we have pursued changes that balance the program's costs between the city and the employees. The health fund has seen a good year with relatively few major claims. With the state of the health fund, we recommend no increases in premium for employees and to lower the out-of-pocket maximum from $7,350 to $6,350 for employees. It will potentially add $47,169 in claim expense to the health fund, but at this time, the health fund is in a position to absorb this cost. Beyond the salaries and benefits for our staff, we continue to expand opportunities for the employee to grow with our organization. Our staff may have been hired for a specific task, but we are amazed at the talent they have that blooms with training, equipment, and teamwork. We have employees who are getting their bachelor's and master's degrees from local colleges and universities, allowing them to continue their advancement from the city. This year, we instituted a program for employees who wanted to pursue their GED. We are working with the Literacy Council for employees and spouses to receive the preparatory training here at our City U. The intent of this new program will improve the employee and family's abilities to increase their education, earning potential, and their ability to advance in our community. Our programs, such as Walking with Bob, which you can check out on YouTube, were developed by allowing staff to use their skills to reach out in a way that benefits the entire community. Our Toastmasters Club teaches and encourages staff to share their stories and experiences with the community to provide a greater understanding of what the city does. I'm proud of the development and creativity that our staff demonstrate through these additional workforce investments. I'll let this slide off. This area of focus on the strategic plan provides for the community participation in building our diverse economy and growing our city. We have performed extensive renovations and expansions at Tyler Regional Palins Airport with the Runway 422 and other projects. Runway enhancements allow larger commercial planes to land at the airport, which solidifies our standing as a regional transportation hub. This can be seen by the addition of our newest partner, Frontier Airlines, currently offering direct service from Tyler to Denver, then continuing to parts beyond. Downtowns are also recognized as playing a unique role in a community's economic and social development because they create a critical mass of activities where commercial, culture, and civic exchange is concentrated. Our public-private partnerships, such as the one at Cumberland Village, continue to drive our retail sector and enable us to bring shoppers and businesses from outside our city limits. We have numerous key partners such as Visit Tyler, Sport Tyler, and First Tee. The work they are doing is exciting and increases the quality of life for our citizens, businesses, and our visitors. Our collaborations with our downtown partners continues the revitalization that is capturing the interests of the community and generating new levels of activity. With programs such as Tunes at Noon and the planned expansion of the Downtown Tyler Film Festival to include music and community storytelling with partners True Vine and the Tyler Loop, there's true vibrancy to the downtown environment that continues into the next fiscal year. As part of the downtown plans, the City Council voted to create a Main Street Advisory Board, which will advocate for downtown amenities. The Main Street Board will also administer a new downtown revitalization grant program, which will provide up to $10,000 in matching grants per entity to downtown property owners for upgrades to their facades and make safety improvements. We are creating a bigger presence on the square this fall with the addition of the Tyler Visitor Center. We are joining together Main Street, Heart of Tyler, Visit Tyler, and Liberty Hall staff to share office space, retail space, and the art gallery on the first floor of Plaza Tower, which generates stronger partnerships and gives greater visibility to all these operations for our guests and citizens. After feedback from the Texas Department of Transportation on our first application, we are pursuing the Build Grant for 2019 to enhance South Broadway infrastructure and streetscape from Irwin to Front Street. The moving forward with the replacement of the parking meters to have new meters will also allow for that mobile pay options. Apologize for that. Got it. As per the budget and tax rate adoption schedules per state statutes, the Council has two actions that it must take today. It must adopt a proposed rate that becomes a ceiling for consideration and further debate and to use for publication purposes, and the Council must set the first two public hearings for the budget and tax rate. Staff recommends holding the first public hearing at our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting on August 28th and the second hearing on September 11th. We expect to bring the tax rate and budget to the Council for adoption at your meeting on September 25th. I do want to extend my deep appreciation to my budget team of Keeter Trimble, Renissa Wade, and Blake Cathy for their countless hours of taking the budget proposals from the documents from each department and working to refine these into the document we have for review today. In addition, I note the incredible work in showcasing our budget story as shown in this presentation developed by Jennifer Pittman and Blake Cathy. They took information that is dry and sleep-inducing and found a format that showcases how the budget moves forward the direction of the city. I also provide my gratitude to you, the City Council. You provided direction and priorities in our conversations, deliberations, and ideas throughout the year, and it set the stage for the budget that we provided. Our focus on employees, infrastructure, parks, and public safety reflects your vision for this community. I thank you for your service and insight on behalf of the citizens of Tyler. It is a privilege to serve you and present this budget for fiscal year 2020 programs and services for your consideration.
Are there questions from council members at this point? If not, we do have one card. Terrence Yates, would you like to speak? State your name and address, please.
Why are you whispering? Okay. Yes. Terrence Yates, 1406 Alamo Drive in Tyler.
Yes, sir.
So I'm pinch hitting for George today.
Sure.
He took Frontier Airlines to get to Denver today. He is representing the National Association of County and City Health Officials. He is their president this year, representing
Yes.
Tyler and Net Health across the country.
That's amazing. It's a great honor.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor and City Council. 1936, the city formed the Smith County Health Unit, and over the decades it has evolved into Net Health. Our mission is to prevent illness, promote health, and protect our community. And we join you to keep Tyler healthier through our collaborative efforts such as the Center for Healthy Living, which is at the corner of Walton Road and 155 South. It's improved the health of over 2,000 lives since its opening in 2013. The best example of its impact is the Community Cares Project, which has assisted 116 clients who did not have health insurance to now have a primary care doctor thanks to our community health workers. Our environmental health services ensure safe food preparation at all restaurant establishments. Only 10 years ago, there were 674 food establishments in Tyler. As of today, there are 936, an increase of almost 40%. And a growing Tyler is going to include more restaurants. Our regional laboratory, only one of 7 certified milk testing labs in Texas, also provides municipal water testing at no charge to the city of Tyler. Birth certificates and death certificates can be printed for any Tylerite at our Vital Statistics Department. And all of these offices are located next to Tyler Municipal Court, where, as we meet right now, our immunizations department is vaccinating the youth of Tyler as they prepare for back to school next week. Our Public Health Emergency Preparedness Department is performing active surveillance of every type of reportable disease, as well as partnering with Tyler Fire, local EMS, and the maintenance of response plans for floods, tornadoes, and weather, hot and cold. As the city develops next year's operating budget, Net Health humbly seeks the restoration of the previous contributions from the city in order to maintain and to enhance the public health services received by your 100,000 plus Tylerites. 3 years ago, the city's budgetary adjustments resulted in decreased funding to Net Health from the previous annual contribution of $409,500 down to $200,000. This situation motivated Net Health to become aggressive in our applications of local, state, and federal grants that have supported our ability to provide basic, essential public health services. Yet our continuity of operations is bolstered and becomes fortified by your support. To everyone listening, Net Health is your health department. We serve Tyler through disease surveillance, vaccination against diseases, preparedness for emergency situations, daily milk and water testing, food and restaurant inspections, and your award-winning Center for Healthy Living. More than 30 years have been added to the average lifespan of Tylerites since 1936, when Net Health was then known as the Tyler and Smith County Health Unit. Tylerites today and in the future are affected and affected by public health. The partial or full restoration of funding would allow Net Health to adequately staff our essential public health services and to proactively prepare for the future growth of the city of Tyler. Thank you for your time.
Terrence, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
What percentage of your budget is Tyler's contribution? Do you know?
I do not know that off the top of my head, but I can get that for you.
Okay, just curious. Appreciate you guys do a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've got another question for
Sure.
you. With regard to, the industry that I came from, the restaurant industry, so we've seen a tremendous increase in the number of licensed food establishments. Does that include the mobile units also?
Yes.
Okay.
So every food establishment includes restaurants, food trucks, hotels, commissaries, church kitchens, daycares, any place food is produced, cooked, prepared for public consumption. Our
And so-
environmental health covers.
Sorry. And so in the inspection process, you have, over the last few years, changed that inspection process to an at-risk program, the highest risk to the lowest risk, so far as determining what their inspection rate should be.
Yes.
And then problem children get inspected more often.
Mhm.
But you still have to chase the trucks. Okay.
That's a good way to say
not.
it.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not?
But since there are more and more food establishments, period, we want to make sure our staff is able to keep up with the demand.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very
Any other
much.
questions?
So much.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Thanks, Terrence.
That's the only card
Thank
we have today. I didn't know. We have several opportunities for the public to come and speak with us over the next 3 meetings. Is that correct? And so at this time, if there's not any other.
There's 2 actions, though, that are needed from today.
Right.
So,
Here it goes.
3.
And is that on P1?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So is there a motion to accept the presentation of the fiscal year 2019-2020 proposed budget?
So moved.
I have a motion by Sept, a second by Sellers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Is there a motion to place proposals to adopt an ad valorem tax rate of 25.99 cents per 100 of assessed value in the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget as action items on the September 25th, 2019 City Council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by Warren. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And now I will accept a motion to schedule public hearings on the proposed property tax rate of 25.99 cents per 100 of assessed value in the proposed budget on the August 28th and September 11th council agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Sept, a second by Westbrook. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And at this point, we will take a short recess. At this time, we'll come back to order, please. Thank you very much for giving us a moment. At this time, we will I recognize Lisa Crossman, city engineer, to do P2.
Thank you. Good
Thank
morning,
you.
Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
I would like to provide a very brief presentation on the half-cent sales tax capital improvement program. This is a program that is funded by 0.5% of all of the sales tax revenue that's collected within the city. And as such, the half-cent sales tax program maintains a 10-year forecast of capital improvement projects. Currently, our 10-year forecast is forecasting to be able to fund 64 projects totaling $148.9 million in improvements. And those improvements are inclusive of public safety, parks, streets and traffic, drainage, and airport improvements. This current fiscal year, the one that we're currently in, we have funded 34 projects totaling $15 million. And again, the full range of projects. Just briefly hitting some of the highlights of those projects, we do have currently Fire Station number 1, which is under construction. As you can see, we're starting to get the walls up, and they are working on the roof. We are anticipating that construction is going to be complete in December of this year. In addition, we also have Fire Station number 4 down on the south end of Tyler, which is also under construction. The walls are also up, and they are currently also working on the roof of that facility. And we're anticipating that it's going to be complete by the end of October. One of the parks projects that the half-cent program is funding is the Southside Park redevelopment, which is a park along Donnybrook. They're planning to install some inclusive playground equipment at the park, as well as constructing some sidewalks and doing the associated site work. They are currently working on that site work and the sidewalks, and as soon as that is complete, we'll start installing the playground equipment. They're hoping to start on that installation by middle of September and be complete by the end of October. And then, as you know, we are currently working on some Cambridge Road improvements. That project is currently in the design phase. The design is about 80% complete, and later in this meeting, we'll be asking you to consider an amendment to add some additional work to that project. But the project as it currently stands is the installation of sidewalks, curb and gutter, and some widening of the actual pavement. Again, the design is about 80% complete, and we are currently working on the acquisition of the easements and right-of-way that we need for this project. We have about 46 of the 59 parcels that we need, so we are moving right along with that easement acquisition, and we are hoping that we'll be able to start construction after the first of the new year, sometime in January 2020. And then one of the other major projects we have currently ongoing is the MLK Boulevard improvements project. This is the installation of sidewalks, streetlights, and other minor improvements along MLK Boulevard from Gentry to Broadway Avenue. That, as you know, includes the replacement of the railroad crossing near Border Avenue. And then recently, within the last couple of months, we identified a drainage structure near Parkdale Drive, which is on the west end of the project by the zoo, which has failed. So we requested that the engineer add that repair to this project, so they're currently working on the design of that repair. There's one easement that we're going to need to be able to do the replacement, so we're working on acquiring that easement. Once we get that design and easement in place, we will be able to take this project out for bid for constructions. And then also, we are currently in the middle of our citywide traffic signal study. We've recently had a workshop with the traffic operations staff and the consultant. It was an all-day workshop to identify the needs of the department, verify some of the existing equipment that they're currently working with, finding out what it is they'd like to use. They're working on a needs assessment and making recommendations for future improvements. They've also been working on a pilot signal study on the South Broadway corridor. They've just recently gotten that pilot, the signal timing in place. So we're evaluating the signal timing on South Broadway at the moment. Then looking forward to next fiscal year, every year we do go through this prioritization process by which we accept project recommendations either from city staff, from citizens, whoever wants to recommend a project. We go through the process where we evaluate those projects in relation to these particular criteria, during which we provide scores for these criteria, which then results in the ultimate ranking of those projects within the annual work program. And within your package, you do actually have a copy of the full proposed annual work program. It's several pages long and is color-coded. You can see it's color-coded with yellow and blue. The yellow just means that those are the projects that are currently in process, and then the handful of blue projects are the projects that went through this ranking process to be added to this program, and you can see where they fall within the overall program. So you have that to study. This slide just goes over those handful of projects that were added this year. For the most part, they are drainage projects. These were identified by city staff. They're repairs of channels or drainage systems under existing roadways. There are a couple of non-drainage projects. Then next fiscal year, the program is forecasted to fund 32 projects totaling $29.1 million. Again, for the most part, this is going to be completing a lot of the projects that we are currently working on in this fiscal year, but we do have some new projects that we will be adding. Just some brief highlights. One of these new projects that was added for next fiscal year is the Flat Rock Storm Sewer Repair or Replacement Project. There is an existing storm sewer system that runs along Flat Rock Drive. There have been some joint failures in the pipe. It's a fairly large diameter pipe system. The joint failures have occurred, which has allowed infiltration, which is now undermining the road. So the roadway is either sinking or in some cases have holes forming in the actual roadway. One of the other new projects is a storm sewer repair at 3521 South Broadway. This is a 48-inch diameter pipe that runs through the parking lot behind this facility. Again, this is another joint failure which has resulted in infiltration and causing sinkholes within the parking lot of this facility. This final project, again, new for next fiscal year, is the reconstruction of the channel walls at Shiloh and Donnybrook. As you can see in the picture, this is a concrete lined channel. The concrete has been undermined, and so the wing walls have separated from the channel bottom, and it's allowing the channel water to actually flow underneath the bottom of the concrete channel. And of course, this is underneath the bridge structure there on Shiloh Road, so it's a fairly significant structural issue that needs to be addressed. So just very quickly, the proposed budget for next fiscal year, we're anticipating starting the year with a significant cash balance of over $20 million. We are forecasting revenues in the neighborhood of $15 million, and we're forecasting to spend $29 million, which will leave an overall fund balance at the end of next fiscal year of just under $7 million.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions?
No.
Okay,
If there are no questions, then I would ask that you consider adopting the fiscal year 1920 annual work program, as well as that proposed corporate budget for next fiscal year.
So moved.
A motion by Westbrook, a second by
Second.
Warren. Any questions? Very good presentation. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. P3.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to speak with you again this morning regarding Tyler Water Utilities Capital Improvement Plan. The objective of this presentation is to talk a little bit about the project methodology. That is how we go about the prioritization of the projects. Talk a little bit about the funding versus how we maintain a balance between cash and bonds. Also talk to you about the strategic capital plan from a 10-year perspective. As well as discuss the fiscal year of 19 and 20 capital plan and any future CIP goals that we'll have. What you're looking at is how we go about prioritizing our projects. This year was a little bit different for us because of the consent decree. So we look basically like the half-cents folks. We look at what are the regulatory requirements, how will that project address any existing or future regulatory compliances, also funding availability. Is the funding currently available or will it be available? Which funding instrument will we have to use? And we always want to make sure that we are avoiding spikes between incoming cash and also expenditures. And finally, we look at whether or not this is a new development that is coming in that we can provide through services by annexation or any other request. Project funding. The majority of our projects are funded by cash generated from the utility services or billing. In the cash-funded projects, the CIP projects generally deal with routine maintenance issues and system expansion. The area of funding, and the area of next funding is the bond funding. So we look at revenue bonds, and they are usually to be used to fund some of the capital improvement plan projects and similar type of projects. We anticipate what some of the costs may be based on our availability of cash to those projects. Also, bond revenue funding addresses some of the regulatory compliance issues, such as the consent decree, like we're dealing with now, and any other administrative orders that may be issued by the state of Texas. What you're looking at now is the strategic outlook of our capital plan. So over the next 10 years, Tyler Water Utilities is expected to have 51 proposed projects totaling more than or almost $300 million. For example, there are 14 projects in the water treatment totaling almost $25 million. For the wastewater treatment plant, there's a total of 11 projects totaling more than $15 million. And let me just stop to say thank you, Honorable Mayor, thank you, Council, for your support in approving and authorizing these projects, and thank you, City Manager, for allowing us to invest in our system. Over the last 5 years, we have spent more than $8 million in improvements in Golden Road Water Treatment Plant. And I just wanted to pause and just say thank you for that. Thank you for allowing us to invest into our system. To my right, if you look at the picture down at the bottom, you'll see the south side wastewater treatment plant primary clarifier that is out of service. It's in our CIP for repair, as the city manager had mentioned in his presentation, of more than $5 million. There are several of the projects that we have that the city manager actually mentioned. The previous slide talked about the 10-year strategic outlook for CIP as it applied to cash funding. Now we want to talk a little bit about the revenue bonds or the bond funding. So we are spending more than $230 million on the consent decree. So what you're seeing is in this slide is a combination of things. You're seeing phases 1 through 4, which is included in cleaning of the sewer mains, televising, right-of-way clearing, and modeling. There is construction that you're seeing over the 10-year period of time. You're seeing engineering, you're seeing assessments that will be taking place over the next 10 years. Now here's a look at what will take place in fiscal year 1920. So first, if you look to my left at the top picture, we have our guys working on the 2-inch water main replacement. And the second picture underneath that shows the water meters and meter box replacement program. And again, you see underneath that picture the primary clarifier that's a little bit over $5 million that's taking place at Southside. We will continue to finish the Golden Road tie-in. In fact, we have $3 million, a little bit set aside, $3 million for that project, where we will be working on filters 5 through 8. We'll continue that, and we'll begin construction on construction engineering design on filters 11 through 14. Another important aspect here is the water system hydraulic model. So we will examine our water system and see if there's any upsizing of lines that actually need to take place. And let me just mention that if there's a particular project that I'm going through and you have particular interests, we'll be happy to set aside a meeting as directed by the city manager and provide the details of the projects. This slide is also a reflection of the upcoming fiscal year. The difference between this and the previous is this slide again addresses the revenue bonds that will fund these particular projects. Again, as you can see, sewer crossings, which has been a major thing to my right. You'll see the top picture is the sewer crossing for the, I believe this was the All Saints repair. And the picture underneath that shows how that repair was actually completed. And we're grateful for our local partners, local engineering firms that have helped us in times of need and in emergencies when we have evaluated that it's beyond our ability to repair. Let me just mention the $17 million for the upcoming year. Again, deals with phases 1 through 4. And there's a lot of work that is actually occurring through those phases. Again, it's assessment, it's CCTVing, it's engineering and designing, it's running things through the hydraulic model, updating the hydraulic model, and actually construction that's actually taking place. Some of the future Tyler Water Utility goals is we want to continue a progressive path toward completing the consent decree. We do have a presentation prepared where we wanted to show you that we're exactly where we were in the consent decree and what was remaining. We are on schedule and even in some cases ahead of schedule. We do want to complete the hydraulic analysis for the water system. And again, that's important. We've been consent decrees, consent decree, consent decree. And I want to make sure that we're not forgetting about the aging infrastructure of the water. And we do have some funds for the 2-inch replacement. But we do have issues with the larger lines and some of the looping and things that need to occur. In fact, there's a couple projects that's actually in our CIP that loops dead ends. We do want to continue construction of several storage or elevation tanks to make sure that we provide the pressure that's needed in the multiple pressure planes that we have in our city. And again, if you look at the last one, we want to make sure that we carry on with replacing some of the old treatment schemes that we have at the Southside wastewater treatment plant. Any questions?
No questions. Do we need to,
This one doesn't require any
Okay,
council
good,
actions for
good.
presentation purpose.
Honor Mayor, if you'll let
Good.
me,
Sure.
I want to thank some team members for
Sure.
helping with the capital improvement plan. Ms. Crossman, our city engineer, is very instrumental in helping put this together. Ms. Wade for her leadership in helping us, guide us, and put these together. We also have team members, Michael Norris, Tim Moore, Kate Dietz, all of those partake in helping move these CIP projects together. It is important to know that the CIP is a fluid program. So we come back every quarter and reevaluate that program and make adjustments where needed, whether they're regulatory or some emergency or if there's a citizen issue.
right,
So, thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Joe.
01,
Good morning, Mayor, Council.
Good morning.
This is another one of our Unified Development Code amendments, And these include some clarifications and minor amendments this time. We have consideration for an ordinance amending the Unified Development Code, the UDC, in Chapter 10 by amending regulations related to advertising on transit vehicles, interstate highway signage, donation containers, and other minor clarifications. There are allowances for interstate highway signs that are being added to regulate the signs along our new presence along I-20. Very, very pleased and happy with that. And these standards are similar to Lindell's and will apply to properties over an acre in size and within 660 feet of the interstate. So this is, again, Tyler being friendly with our neighbors, but also being competitive with what we have at the intersection there at I-20 and Highway 69. We have a maximum overall height at 150 feet, a maximum face size of 400 square feet, and then one interstate sign is allowed in addition to existing sign allowances that all developments are allowed to have. So this is in addition to. Our current code did not have interstate sign allowances because we didn't have this presence before, so we're making sure we have this in our development code once those folks that are developing along I-20 are ready for those signs. Our next areas include some changes to donation containers. There was a clarification that it's the property owner that needs to apply for the temporary use permit. There was some confusion where the donation container companies were going in and placing these containers on properties without the property owner being aware of it. And this is to make sure that everyone is clear that the property owner does need to, in fact, obtain the temporary use permit rather than the actual vendor or the person placing the containers on that private property. We also have the clarifications about removing the transit signage from our sign code. That is policed and that's regulated through the Tyler Transit Department, and it's unnecessary for us to have that in the Unified Development Code. And then finally, a minor or somewhat major clarification on the need for a 10 or 100% maintenance bond. It was before 10% in our code, and now we're clarifying that to be 100% maintenance bond for public improvements. And with that,
You want to mention how that ties to the next item?
you can, yes.
Oh, okay. And the reason for that will tie into your next item in relationship to the three-way contract revision process.
Gotcha.
And our various committees, including the Unified Development Committee and the Developers Roundtable, have all reviewed these items and are in general agreement with the recommended changes. And the Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 5-0 vote, recommends approval of the amendments.
Now, do we have set for another time to remember the discussion about how maybe attached houses on single lots are defined instead of calling them multifamily, which they're not? Or are we going to be working on that
Yes, Mayor.
project?
We are in the process of working on that very item. We have had our first meeting with our subcommittee, and we're in the process of reviewing our draft ordinance. And we have scheduled meetings to take that to our Unified Development Code Review Committee, as well as the Developers Roundtable within the next 2 months.
Good. I appreciate that, because I do think it sends the wrong message when we know what it means, but
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's not very definitive in the public, so I think that'll be helpful. That's the only questions I had.
So just to verify, the developers roundtable, they're good with going from 10% to 100%
Yes, sir.
maintenance bond?
That was actually their recommendation. So because we had it 10%, in the earlier draft we had on the three-way contract, I kept it at 10%. But because of the next item you'll consider of eliminating the three-way contract process, and discussion went to, then why not do a 100% maintenance bond? The cost, they said, is as far as minimal, whether it's 10% or 100%. So that was actually a suggestion that they kind of pushed forward.
Okay.
Move to approve that.
Motion by Westbrook,
Second.
second by McKellar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 02. Ms. Crossman?
Thank you. Yes, item 02 is a request to make some recommended changes to Chapter 19 of the Tyler City Code. Hopefully you can see that. Chapter 19 is the section in the city code that covers utilities, and there are several sections that specifically cover the extension of water and sewer lines in new developments. And for years, that section has required a three-way contract, which is a contract between the city, the developer, and the contractor for these utility extensions. For several years, we've been getting feedback from the development community that they would like to see this requirement revised in some way, streamlined in some way, preferably eliminated. And that's something that city staff has been looking at for several years, seeing if there was a way to streamline the process. And after reviewing the code from several other cities, we did decide that really recommending the elimination of the contracts is probably the best way to go. So the the revisions that we're recommending today there are some minor revisions in section 19-1, which is the definition section of the code. Those are just clarifications on the definition of director, and then removing some language in two definitions that refer to these contracts. The main revisions are in sections 19-13 and 19-14, which do specifically cover the extensions of utilities in developments either with private streets or in public streets. And the revisions in both of those sections are identical. We're removing the language that requires the contract between the developer and the city. We're adding language that requires adherence to any applicable sections in Section 10, which is the Unified Development Code. And then we're adding language that requires that plans be approved by the city prior to beginning work, and that the developer meet one of these two options for the construction process. Option 1 would be the submission of 100% maintenance bond, 100% payment bond, requiring that all improvements are completed in accordance with city standards and specifications, requiring final inspection and acceptance by the city, and then the submission of record drawings. Option 2 is identical, except that in that option, rather than taking the payment bond, we would accept an affidavit of bills paid in lieu of the payment bond. And these are requirements that we've been requiring all along. They've been part of the contract. So again, we're not losing any of the protections of the contract. We're just not requiring the formality of the contract.
Great. Any questions? I know this is a project we've worked on for many years. So thank you for seeing it through.
Well, Mayor, I just
And
want to
legal.
add that I attended the meeting, and for the contractors to have the input that they did, they really led the discussion and helped come up with the solution to this. So it was a great partnership between staff and our contractors. So appreciate
Great.
it.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by Warren. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for working on this.
Sorry, I was moving a little slow.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning, Steve.
As you're aware, the city of Tyler has long had an ethics ordinance in place for a couple of decades now. That ordinance is really divided into two portions. One is related to our city charter, which has very restrictive provisions. The second portion of that ordinance merely references the state law, where if there is not a conflict of interest that rises to the city charter level, then that will be governed by the state law, which is very less restrictive. It only requires an abstention and an affidavit of interest. So during a recent review of our ethics ordinance, it was determined that the state law references, the ones in City Code Section 1-29, do contain some differences from the state law. This is merely a cleanup ordinance that removes those inconsistencies. It actually loosens up the restrictions to make it easier to meet those ethics requirements for a council member or a member of a city board that is more than advisory. So this morning, city staff's recommending that the ethics ordinance be amended to remove those inconsistent provisions and make our city code on the ethics comply with state law. So the wording will now be exactly like the state law.
Very good. Any questions of Steve?
Move to approve 03.
Motion by Sellers, second by Westbrook. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. 04.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a long morning, I know, so we'll try to make this as brief as possible. Before you are Renissa Wade, Managing Director, and I have Parker Harrison, which is the Manager for Community Development, Block Grant, and Home. And this presentation is regarding the actual action plan for that particular area of focus. This plan has been reviewed 3 times already. We had 3 public hearings. We didn't have any comments received during those public hearings. And this particular item is before you for final acceptance and approval. With that, I'll go a little further into what we're looking at. Our budget this year is $1.2 million. I will say that this budget reflects about a $54,000 decrease over previous year's budget. After speaking with HUD and other sponsored communities, it appears that the same level of decrease that we've received is throughout the entire community-sponsored areas. So our decrease is not related to any of the functions that we've done, but it was just a decrease in what the federal government allowed this year. We have 7 focus areas that we will be working through. The first area that we're looking at is the public facilities, where we are anticipating to allocate about $84,000. This is to the completion of the TJ Austin project, which is something that's near and dear to the mayor, I know. This project was actually initiated and requested by the students of TJ Austin to prepare a safer route home for them rather than walking in the streets. We're very proud of this project. It is my understanding that we're anticipating signing the contract in the next coming weeks, and we're looking at about a 90-day completion period. So by November 2019, those students should be walking on that fresh new sidewalk. Clearance and demolition. This is something that is very much a focus, I believe, of Councilman McKellar, whereas she is an advocate for her district in the North End, which happens to be in our low to moderate area. We have many homes that are over there that have been abandoned and typically are not in repair, so they're blighted. And this particular program helps to eliminate that blighted area and also put that lot back into potential use for other people that want to create homes in that area. We are also looking at seeding 2 new homes in the low moderate area this year. I have before you in these pictures, this is something that has been a tremendous ribbon, so to speak, for neighborhood services. Our neighborhood Hunters Court and our neighborhood Paul Street. Those two neighborhoods really are two jewels over in the North Tyler area, and we are very proud of those two neighborhoods, and we want to continue with those type of focuses through our programs. We do this through our Home Buyers Assistance Program. We're currently set aside $123,000 for this particular program. These individuals qualify for up to $7,500 towards Home Buyers Assistance. Parker and his team take them through seminars on counseling for credit repair, from what to expect, what is a point, how to gauge if you need a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. And then they even walk them through all the way to the closing so that they know what they're signing and how they're getting. And we've been very successful in allowing people to be in new homes, and that's one of our homes that was purchased through this program. So we want to continue to do that. We will be working a little bit closer with the communications department to make sure to get more information out about this program to the citizenship. One of the things that I want to talk about today is something that's, I think, very prideful for our city manager. We just talked about Hunter's Glen and Paul Street. This is Hidden Palace, and Hidden Palace is very exciting for me. We will be looking at possibly putting in 10 homes behind the fire station that's being built over off of Gentry Parkway. We're calling it Hidden Palace because it's right off of Queen Street, and we wanted to stay with that monarch feel, so we wanted to call it Hidden Palace. We were anticipating that we're going to have 2 streets that we would cut through there, and we spoke with Heather Nick, which she's left, but we spoke with Heather Nick to see if we could get the street names of Royalty and Heiress, because who doesn't want to live at the corner of Royalty and Heiress, right? So she did let us know that those names were available, but as it turns out, we may not need 2 names, we may only need 1, and if that's the case, we'll probably only go with Heiress. The actual public facilities infrastructure investment that we're looking at making next year over there is going to be almost $400,000, which would be for the utilities and the cutting in the street with curb and gutter. This is a schematic of what it will look like. So what you're seeing with the parking spaces will be the fire station, and then right behind the fire station could be the proposed new fire admin facilities, and then behind that are the 10 homes that we would be looking at to create Hidden Palace. With that, that is it. I'm just asking that the council accept and approve the action plan and the budget for the CDBG and home, unless you have questions.
Are there any questions? I know we've had some open public hearings on this, so we've had the availability for the public comment, and we've heard the data before. But if there's any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
There's some great programs in here, so I move to approve 04.
Thank you.
Motion by Warren, a second by McKellar. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. R1.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. This is a request that the City Council consider adopting a resolution authorizing the Keep Tyler Beautiful Board to be designated as a Bee City USA sponsor and to take all actions needed to fulfill the Bee City USA program requirements. On March 12, 2019, the Keep Tyler Beautiful Board voted to explore the Bee City USA certification program with the desire to become a Bee City USA affiliate. The Bee City USA program seeks to encourage communities to support pollinators by providing them a healthy habitat rich in native plants and nearly free of pesticides. There are currently only 3 Bee City USA affiliates in Texas and a total of 91 in the United States. Bee City USA affiliates work towards their mission through a set of requirements outlined by the program. This includes an annual celebration to raise awareness of pollinator conservation, information on this program and sustaining pollinators provided to the public, implement or expand a pollinator-friendly habitat, create a pollinator-friendly pest management plan, and establish a policy to commit to and improve the program each year. A Upon the approval of City Council today, the Bee City USA program would become an initiative of Keep Tyler Beautiful, and Keep Tyler Beautiful plans to partner with the East Texas Beekeeper Association, Animal Services, and the library to create a successful and long-lasting program. So it is recommended that the City Council adopt the resolution authorizing Keep Tyler Beautiful Board to be designated as a Bee City USA sponsor and to take all actions needed to fulfill the Bee City USA program requirements.
So is there actually a person that oversees this bee pollination and all that?
Yes, it is part of the Xerces Society. It's
The
a national program, the Bee City USA.
It's not
When
a city
she was
employee.
presenting the Keep Tyler Beautiful, I wondered how she could possibly do anything else.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
This would definitely be a collaboration of our board and then different city departments, and the East Texas Beekeeper Association will have a big part in this program.
Yeah, right.
Well, I thought it was really cool that one city that's doing it is actually called Beeville.
Beeville, yeah.
But there's quite a buzz about it here.
Pardon?
There's quite a buzz about it here.
There is. And we would have a large community meeting about this, and we'd probably have a lot of help from the community. There is big interest in this when we started talking about it with our board.
Okay, any other questions?
I move to approve.
I oppose that second.
Okay, I have a motion by Sellers, a second by McKellar. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Yeah, no.
See if you guys can top that.
Yeah. Yes, good morning. This is a request to award a new work order with KSA Engineers for a planning program to update our master plan for the airport. Kind of looking back through my career, we've had two master plans before, 1995 and then again in about 2005. And what this will do is, it's been very instrumental for the public, the users, to be able to communicate with the airport and our city council about some of the items that might be really good to look forward to in the next 10 to 15 years. And in the past, some of the projects that you've seen as a result of some of those older master plans were like the commercial terminal building. That was a big program that was really initiated in 1995, and it helped us to plan for the funding for the terminal. We saw a new fire station go in, a number of other projects to maintain our airfield. And then again in 2005, we had an update to that master plan where it included that runway 422 project. So it's a really good tool for the FAA, the TSA, the airport, the city. What does the airport see in the next 10 to 15 years? And Michael Maloney is here today with KSA Engineers. I'd like for him to give us a brief overview of some of the scope, and then we could answer any questions about that following that. So, Michael, if you would. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Davis. Mayor, council, thank you for the opportunity and the time. And first, let me just say congratulations for the new air service with Frontier out the airport. That was a major accomplishment with city manager as well and your airport staff that worked hard to accomplish that. That really highlights the opportunity at hand here, looking at an airport master plan. We mentioned the 422 runway project. This is an excellent time to look at the next 20 years and what the future of Tyler Pounds Regional Airport and the community at large will be accommodating over that period. So briefly, I'll introduce our project team. You may be familiar with KSA Engineers as your local, as a local engineering partner, but the team that we have before you today are all airport planners. We've put together a strong team that this is our passion, is airport planning. So I'm one of your day-to-day project managers. I'll be supported by a very capable staff there as well. Peter Van Pelt is an accredited airport engineer, or executive, excuse me. He's 25 years he's worked at airports and in the private sector with planning and consulting. Chris Monroe there is one of our planning strategists. He is a 20-year guy that has done both public and private service as well. Michael Mitchell, one of our technical planners, has worked at airports like Chicago O'Hare and DFW International. Jonathan Farmer, who's here today as well as your local PM and engineer at the airfield, and then our Vice President of Aviation Services, Mr. Craig Phipps, who will be part of our quality assurance. So Our primary team is supported by a couple of subconsultants who have specialty services for us throughout the rest of the master plan. So I'll talk about some of those specific scope items as well, but we've got them to support our team. Again, it's future focused. This is a chance to look at a 20-year capital improvement opportunity and really build those next projects and seek justification for those projects to work with the Federal Aviation Administration and your local partners to advance them forward in the airport. We'll also look at financial fitness. We'll come up with a financial plan to look at those 20 years and how those projects could be financed, the different eligible grant requirements for those as well. But again, it's looking in the future. We'll take the success of the past and use that as a foundation for the future. And as any other planning exercise that you do at the city and in conjunction with your ongoing comprehensive plan updates, this is a good opportunity for the airport to look outside that fence line. And that's what we'll, as a resource, you all put a lot of focus on, which could include surface access and enhancement. What does the growth look like to enhance access to the airport? You already have made some of those improvements for that as well. Land use compatibility continues to be a focus for airports, and continuing to make sure that zoning that's in place, as well as the growth plans of the airport, are compatible with one another. Integration, again, with your comprehensive planning. I think the timing is going to work out very well with that. I think you will be concluding some of those processes around the time we're kicking off, and can hopefully use input from those together. And really, that last bullet there is promotion of community growth and economic development. That is absolutely critical. The airport, as you well know, is a major economic development driver, and what we're looking at here is how that growth ties into the entire community of Tyler and the region at large. The process, and I won't go through each scope item, but as I mentioned, we'll look historically to start what has changed since the last master planning effort was conducted. Then we'll move into the forecast of the aviation demand, and that is really a big component of that. It will drive a lot of the facility needs that we see over that 20-year period. The FAA only approves two pieces of this plan, the forecast being one, and then at the conclusion of the process is what we call an airport layout plan, and that's the subset of drawings and documents that create project eligibility. They keep it on file and will be your guide to developing over time. Other than that, the rest of this is your document. It is a community document that you can use, amend, and build from. We will put in safety enhancements per FAA guidance. That is something we are required to look at by FAA. We will look at alternatives for growth. What do the aprons, the taxiways, the runways look like in the future? And then again, the capital improvement program is really the end result that will come out of this process. In the very center there is our stakeholder input. A very big focus of this will be public involvement, as well as a steering committee and advisory committee that we will organize that will be made up of city staff, community, and tenants of the airport as well. Some of the considerations we foresee, and this is just kind of at the outset, we will go through these as part of the process. Again, economic development inside the fence line. How do we look at aeronautical and potentially non-aeronautical land use and development as not only an opportunity to bring in business and maybe on the airport, but create revenue streams for the airport as well, and partnering with maybe even local academic institutions to see what's a good fit there compatibly. Airline growth, as we mentioned, the terminal needs that were done in the last plan, you've added service. We're going to look at that. We're going to see what those needs might be in the future with growth. General aviation is a huge component of your airport and the livelihood of the community. We will ensure that those needs and requirements are met. We've discussed potential for air traffic control enhancements and/or relocation based on the new runway length and where line of sight issues may lie. And the runway itself, you have a brand new capable runway with a different set of capabilities than previously before. We will look at what that means for the future. How does that impact the type of aircraft that might be operating at the facility? And then from that point, a very important piece is the pavement condition, and what do we do to preserve and maintain that long term, as well as drainage considerations. Anytime we add impervious surfaces and development, we want to make sure that's adequately accommodated for as well. So that results in a couple of specific focus items. This is not a complete scope, but just some of the highlights for you. We will be conducting an additional air service market assessment that is primarily to collect data on your existing airline service, as well as the potential demand that might be there for additional markets and sectors. That will be just a tool for you all to use and have at your disposal. Additionally, the FAA is looking at airports' geographic information software, or GIS. A part of this effort will be collecting data on the airfield in a GIS system that the airport will use and submit to FAA, and can also be a benefit to the city in terms of asset management and other things at the airport. That will also include some airspace analysis with that. Stormwater drainage, as I mentioned, the pavement condition analysis, which will produce a new number that will not only tell you the strength of the runway in the facility, but it will line up with aircraft operating numbers that will be able to tell operators, can I safely operate at the airport? And then again, compatible land use and analysis. So that's kind of the high point, but there are a lot of focus areas that the FAA that we will go through. It is, again, a comprehensive look over the next 20 years. I think it's an excellent time. The growth that we've seen last year was one of the record year for airline travel in the United States, with almost 900 million passengers. So now is a very good time for you all as leaders of the community to take this, and we will put an entire plan together for your use and disposal. With that, Mayor, Council, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
That was a very detailed presentation. Thank you.
I don't have any questions, but to me, it's just kind of exciting. I don't know what Davis is dreaming of, but I know he's doing some dreaming. Move to approve M1.
Motion by Warren,
Second.
a second by Westbrook. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. M2.
Good morning again, Mayor and Council. Tyler Water Utilities is pleased to present to you the Eastern Seal package. On page 44 of the consent decree, section 62, the consent decree outlines the completion of work in remedial measures and identifies over 8,000 manholes in the City of Tyler wastewater collection system. Section 63 also identifies the components needed for the number of manholes that have been or will be remediated. And Mr. Newhouse, our compliance engineer, will give you the details.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. And we continue with our remediation work here from the Phase 1 assessment. So, as Dr. Johnson mentioned, we are presenting the Eastern Seal manhole rehabilitation package here. And this continues the work from Phase 1, the assessment. City Manager mentioned the 897 manholes that we discovered from our assessment from 2017. We've already, you have already graciously approved the work on 224 in the Western Seal. And so now this is the Eastern Seal package, which is 258 manholes. The repair and replace package is, we're fixing to have a pre-bid meeting on that next week, and we'll be opening bids the following week. So that's right behind this. And we've got ongoing repairs that are just about complete on these 91 manholes. The line work that's been going on here, we have also approved the CIPP package, and the pipe burst package. We've got some numbers on that one, and we're fixing to select a contractor for that work, and we'll continue right along with that. And then shortly thereafter will be 2 additional packages for point repair and open cut work. So this remedial work on these 258 manholes, again, this is just like the Western Seal. We're sealing the manholes, so we're sealing pipe at the bottom, we're rebuilding benches, we're completely coating the inside of that manhole. There might be some additional work toward the top, rebuilding chimneys and such, but that's what we're doing on this work. So it's a specialized kind of work, and we've got another good contractor, we feel, to continue with this work. This work is a geopolymer material, and the question that was asked the last time was, what's the design life? So I put that in there. It's a 50-year design life. This will protect down to a pH of 1. So we shouldn't have to worry about any type of corrosivity issues. So that's going to be a good thing for our system. The construction management will be done by a local firm, Adams. They will be out there checking all this work, making sure it's being prepped right, making sure that the thickness is correct, and then overseeing the vacuum testing to make sure that the work is done and complete. Maybe it's a little hard to see, but if you can see the green dots there on our eastern seal package, you know, it's generally the eastern portion of the city, so it's spread out over all of it. Again, the line's 10 inches and larger, so we weren't limited to a basin. We went and assessed everything 10 inches and larger. And so the green dots are what you see there where this work is being proposed to be done. So our recommendation is Southern Trenchless Systems was a low bidder. Again, experienced and qualified. They had excellent references. They looked to do a very good job. They've done a good job everywhere else that they've worked. And the other bidder for this job was the vendor that won the Western Seal, but they weren't quite to the numbers that Southern Trenchless is. So we feel good. We're going to have two good contractors working almost simultaneously on these two different packages when we get going. So our recommendation is to award them the bid, the contract, and then to approve a resolution to reimburse this funds with future debt.
Paul, what was the expected cost?
The expected cost on this was, the worst case cost was right at $2 million. The initial cost from Forbes was about, from pipeline analysis, was about 1.3. So on all of our packages so far, the Western Seal, this Eastern Seal, and the CIPP, and you haven't seen the numbers yet, but what we're seeing on the pipe burst is everything is coming in. We're getting good prices.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. That's what I was hoping would happen.
So was I.
Yeah, good. Any questions on M2?
No. Move to approve M2.
Motion by Westbrook.
Second.
Second by Sellers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. M3.
Thank you. Item M3 before us this morning is a contract amendment with the CT Brannan Corporation for additional design and construction services related to the Cambridge Road Improvements Project. During the design, we've discovered that there are some drainage issues in the Oxford Drive area. And because of the proximity of that area to the Cambridge Road project, we thought it would be most efficient to address that, addressing that drainage issue along with the Cambridge Road project. As you know, the Cambridge Road project will be making some minor drainage improvements, and because that area does drain to the south towards Cambridge Road and draining to the box culvert that's going to be installed with the Cambridge Road project, again, we thought it would just be best to deal with them both simultaneously. So the amendment, in addition to dealing with the drainage issues, we'll also add some funding for construction inspection. That wasn't included in the original contract for the road project because it can sometimes be difficult to really estimate the level of effort that's going to be required on a project until the design is further along and we know exactly how that project is going to shape up. So we are taking this opportunity, since we are requesting an amendment, to go ahead and get the construction inspection services approved as well. So the amendment, again, will cover the design of the drainage improvements in the Oxford Drive area, as well as the construction inspection for both the Cambridge Road and the Oxford Drive improvements. So we are requesting approval of amendment number 1 in the amount of $253,200.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad that you're doing that. I think that is a smart way to use the resources. since we're going to be working in that area, to go ahead and resolve that issue as well.
I agree as well. As a matter of fact, one of the residents had sent me several videos, and I believe this was also a segment on TV one night, so thanks for taking care of it.
Great, so that's a motion.
It's a motion to approve in 3.
It's a motion from Councilman Warren. Is there a second? From Westbrook. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Are we going to take M4 and M5 together? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Y'all need another break?
No.
Morning, Mayor, Council.
But you'll be brief,
I
right?
will be brief. This is the 5th time you've heard that, I think. This is a good day. We had a little bit of rain and bringing some water to parks, and this is exciting to staff and I to bring water much needed to our parks and in a couple areas that was duly missed so far. This request for M4 is a request that council consider authorizing the city manager to award the buy board vendor contract bid for Fun Forest and Wilder Park pool and splash pad construction to Sunbelt Pools of Dallas, Texas, to furnish all necessary materials, equipment, superintendents, and labor for the amount not to exceed $326,470 for Wilder Park and $1,758,235 to Fun Forest Park. The history is, we've talked about this, but real quickly, is the bids in November we didn't receive. December we only had one bid. April we put out with buy board vendor because the excessive bid that came in on that December bid. And then in July, we had to pull the buy board vendor that was not meeting our requirements of getting a contract to us and also just not being responsive, and along with other issues. And then we also approved moving into design phase of phase 2 of Fun Forest and Wilder Park. The usage scenarios were, we presented these last time, but just to give you an update, we only had 1,200, about 10% of the people utilize TISD. So we do thank TISD for opening the doors to allow us to use their pool, and but it just really did not get the use that we would like to have had. And but we were glad it was available, so we didn't deny water. But we had of course, Burkeville Parks opened up, and it's been well used. We catch Councilman Warren out there all the time. And but we also have Faulkner Park, and it's had a couple of issues, but staff and commercial operators are working on that to see if we can eliminate some issues. But overall, this project it was definitely needed to be moving forward. Fun Forest Park, you can see the old designs layout still there. Nothing changed other than the building and of course all the ADA components. I do have Terry Brandon with Brandon Corporation here for any design questions of what we're doing. Can be more thorough on this. This one is taking us from the 600 plus 1,000 gallon pool down to right at about 100,000 gallons. And again, that is to repeat that is the aspect that the people using the pool only use the shallow end a majority of the time. And so we felt more use of the pool would be better served to the community. Plus, it also helps with the continual maintenance costs that are ever going higher. It does have the swimming lanes. It does have a sliding setup at the very base of that setup. You can't really see the whole thing, but there is a slide in there. And into the right of that picture is the beach entry style. We do have the capability of anyone with any ADA issues or just don't like jumping into a high amount of water, a small child, they can gradually go into that. The unique part outside of this is not the splash pad, but it has splash pad features in it. So it gives a greater, for older children that want to
maybe experience the pool a little bit more, but also gives it more features that are splash pad oriented. I've got some pictures to show you on that. Kind of the mushroom feature. Some of these might not be exact, but this was a close picture of another city that we were able to look at the design that's already been installed in 2 other cities. Very similar, but it has some cascading features, and so it's going to be something we've not seen before, and it's going to be nice to have. The splash pad, which would actually be closer to the bathhouse, and that is to put that there. And it again has several features that we've have not had in Tyler, and this will be well extend to add to the usage, more enjoyable features. And it'll all be on the same plane. And again, here's some of the similarities of other pools or other splash pads. Here's a combination look. We are removing all of the pool equipment. Let me back up. We're not using the old pool equipment except one that we bought last year. There's a portion of that that'll be utilized in this concept, but everything will be brand new. All plumbing. It'll give us another 80 years. No, I'm just kidding. But we're hoping that this will all be new plumbing and new equipment. And the pool house will be down below there on that bottom left-hand corner. And this is a lot of the state-of-the-art things I'll let Terry bring up in just a moment that he can identify to you a lot more clear.
Russ, you may also want to talk about the bathhouse, so that actually has been totally restored.
That is, yes, sir. The bathhouse, completely ADA accessible, all new, 100% the top and the bottom end underneath in the bathhouse, all new plumbing. We were having some major structural concerns and that items were right over your pool equipment, and any failure, it just would have made us some major contamination issues. And so we're excited about that. That's completed. It looks nice. When we do have an opening, it's going to be nice to see all the newness, and the historical part of the building is there, and we didn't change a lot except some things on the inside, but all in all, it's a lot of 2019 improvements is what we're looking at. The interesting thing too, there's about 5 or 6 sand filters that are underneath the pool house, along with a lot of other equipment. We're going down to 1 major sand filter for filtration. And again, I wanted Terry to bring up, because there's some things that we're doing that is going to help with the integrity and the safety of the pool and the swimmer. And I'll let him bring that up in just a second.
So Russ, can you go back to that last
Yes,
slide?
sir.
What's the perimeter of the existing pool? Where is it?
The existing pool, if you can see, the outside line is that whole floor of the pool. The perimeter is the next line that's going in. There's a rectangular that's encompassing the whole pool and the splash pad. And this is where there is a savings of money, because there's no excavation necessary, because this would be a major excavation cost that we're saving because it's already dug out. We have to come in and do some preparation to do the backfill proper. And the whole top layer of the deck has multiple concrete from years of adding or repairs of things that happened even in the 70s and 80s. You're going to have a complete new 4-inch deck on top of the pool, so we're not going to have a hodgepodge concrete look. So it'll be, and there's some areas that we've got to address in other portions of that pool area that have some concrete that they've fixed some, and we're going to be looking at some additional things, but it won't be asking for additional money. But this is it's just going to be nice to have a shiny new nickel instead of putting it together with Band-Aid and shiny nickel. And so I'm pleased with Lisa Crossman, with her working with Half Cent, and then Half Cent approving this whole project, because we've went back and forth and the funds needed and back and forth with things. We're only looking at an additional about $130,000 outside of the original scope, and Half Cent approved that, and that helps us get this whole thing completed, and that's an excellent thing. I really think at this point, there's some, just to give you some quick pictures, Fund 4 splash pad, again, there's that cascading glass center. I talked about this last time. We've several thousands of dollars we spent at Wilder Park Glass Center through the years, and we have an additional approach of another 107 just for the glass recreation. Again, these things are in the budget that has been presented earlier, so we're excited about some additional things that are needed at that center. The splash pad at Wilder Park, again, that bottom right-hand corner, that's the original design, the original layout, the original equipment of design is all there. And the baseball field that we're working on, just about done, is on the left. It's in the V portion of where the parking lot is, to the left where the old swimming pool was at, that big open field area. Here again is the splash pad design. We had a great time in August, the last Friday, with our end of the year, the summer program there with the kids. Good response. Again, here's the baseball area. Its fencing is up. They're still finalizing some things, but the field staff did a great job of doing that, saving us several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Woolard Park first tee, they have their fencing up. They have 2 areas up with the artificial turf. There's a lot going on up there, so it's exciting to see these phases. Terry, would you come on up? You are up, so would you come up and...
Well, you're doing that, but would you put it back on the Wilder Park splash pad piece?
Right there.
Because this will be, so your items today will be on Fund Forest as far as what was described, and also on the Wilder Park splash pad for both those items.
This is a purchase through the buy board, and the buy board contractor is Sunbelt Pools out of Dallas. I've worked with Sunbelt on somewhere around 30 swimming pools and projects across the United States. They're an excellent contractor. I will tell you right now, they're the best swimming pool contractor in the state of Texas for commercial pools and water parks. Right. And I've enjoyed working with them, and you will too. The project, one thing at Woolard Park that I need to tell you is that the metal building that's going to go over the basketball courts is on the ground. It's there. It's not erected yet, but we do have a metal building now, and they're going to finish that up, I think, soon, and get that part of the project, the Garrett project, finished up. Back to Fun Forest Park, one of the things that you're going to notice is that with this item on the agenda and the next item on the agenda, we could have brand new fencing to replace that penitentiary style fencing that we have now with the barbed wire and all that. We go to a black mesh fence. It's called a climb resistant fence with no barbed wire, be 8-foot fence around the outside. On the inside, we'll have a shorter fence to partition the property up, but it'll all be brand new decks, brand new toys. It's going to look like a brand new project when we finish out there. And it's 82 years, I think now, old, and it's about time. And it's going to be a great looking project. So, one thing that Russ did mention, we do have a totally new electrical service as well, all brand new electrical, all brand new plumbing. And as part of the treatment package on this, we're putting a UV system. UV is, in the swimming pool industry, is state-of-the-art for disinfection of the water, not just chlorine, not just acid for pH control, but the UV will kill things like Cryptosporidium, Legionella disease, those kind of viruses like that. It kills them, deactivates them instantly. So this will be the safest swimming pool that we could possibly have in this area. So that's a real important point. And that alone is somewhere around $80,000 worth of cost. So, but we think it's very important that we have that in there. So, be glad to answer any questions if you have any about the construction or the details.
The concrete building will still be there?
The concrete block building is still there, and we've rehabbed a lot of the outside. We got done some work on the roof and done some work on the trim and the windows on the outside. On the inside, we have all new toilet fixtures, all new partitions. The floor's been recoated. The plumbing system, that building has a crawl space under it. All the plumbing was ripped out, and we started with brand new plumbing underneath the floor system. So everything in there now, water, sewer, electrical wiring, lighting, fixtures and partitions is all new. It looked really nice.
Well, this project has been in need of repair for so many years. I'm just so proud that we have finally achieved a great project. And Mr. Brandon, thank you for helping on it. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if this should be directed to him or
Sure.
not, but this is for knowledge for myself for now and for the future. And the question I have is, what is our procedure for getting bids? We have not only the projects for the parks, but all of the projects for the city of Tyler. And if there are any minority contractors who have been able to get some of this procured.
That will be a question for really the city manager.
Okay.
Yeah, and bidding is going to be different upon different types of projects. On this one, we put out as far as a full, full set of specs and bid requests. I don't know how many came back, and with this one though, we were able to. I mean, there are several different bidders. We've gone through this different times with different bidders. In relation to historically underutilized businesses,
right.
There is an opportunity for specialized different bids or for proposals to include a credit component for historically underutilized businesses. Typically on ones like this, though, you'll see it possibly. I don't know if necessarily this one included it in there or not, but it only makes up a certain percentage on that as per state law. And so we prescribe and follow as far as what the state law is regarding to historically unutilized businesses, which relate to is both either minority-owned businesses or female-owned businesses for those opportunities.
Okay. So we put it out on the web. How do we find out if
For historically
underutilized? Period.
Oh, for
our
bidding?
city. Yes.
For that one, it's taken care of through either by putting it, everything is as far as publicly advertised when it requires bidding, and so there will be put out on the different sites for that, as well as on the city's website for notifications.
Thank you. Great project. Thank you.
And one addition on the bid that, the second bid, we had, I think about 6 or 7 vendors. One of them was out of Dallas, was a HUD vendor. But only one, Garrett, is the one that did come back with a bid, which we keep working with, which I'll get into that real quickly on the next one if you want me to talk about that before y'all vote, or however you want to do it.
Let's go ahead and vote on M4 then.
Off a motion.
Yes, a motion by McKellar, second by Sellers. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. M5.
M5, just real quickly, we're requesting that council consider authorizing the city manager to award additional funds from bid 19-019 for Fund Force Part A of the project by adding shade structure work, bid light item 120 in the amount of $15,100, shade structures work, bid line item 130 in the amount of $73,500, fencing work, bid line item 180 in the amount of $109,500, and then at Woolgert Park, Part B, line items, this was the ADA parking, the ADA sidewalks, an amount of $117,500 for a total of $315,600. And the reason we held off on these part of the bids is we couldn't build the splash pads. We didn't have nothing was going forward, so we chose to just keep those off the table, not tie up the money if we couldn't spend it. So these things, now that we are presenting 2 splash pads, the pool project phase 2, because that money came forward through the half-cent fund for this time of the year, and then as far as the additional funds that half-cent approved, we were able to package all this together and get it done. These items are going to be utilized for some of the, and when you're out there, we only have one shade structure, which is off the building, and there's no shade structures out around the pool or the splash pad area. So some of those will be common areas, but then we have a few that we're wanting to utilize to rent out to the public so that they can have birthday parties and be designated to be able to have that spot. And so it'll be some additional revenue to the pool, and it'll help in that regard.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
No.
A motion to approve?
Motion?
Motion by McKellar, second by
Second.
Warren. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? The ayes
Thank
have
you.
it. At this time, we'll move to the consent agenda.
Well, I just, going back to
Oh,
Councilman
okay.
McKellar's, I had some
Yes.
information sent to me that the contract you just did for Southern Trenches Solutions is a historically underutilized business for $1,018,392 for the manhole work.
Thank you, sir.
So that one is,
Oh,
so
very good.
there are, you know, I mentioned, they are advertised, they have the opportunity to kind of note that they are historically underutilized businesses, and contracts are provided.
Thank you so much for that, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by
Second.
Sellers. Excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
You ready, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go
Just
ahead.
a few as far as items to kind of bring to council and the community's attention. We talked earlier about the traffic signalization project through the half-cent capital fund. In this one, the consultant is updating the concept of operations document and the list of needs based on discussions with city staff at the workshop that they held in mid-July. They also finalized the proposed timing for the South Broadway corridor pilot study and reviewed the timing plans with city staff. The new timing plans should be implemented on a trial basis by mid to late August. And finally, the consultant is coordinating with traffic operations staff to provide staff training workshops by the end of the month. On the Tyler Transit Department has, and I saw actually, I don't know if they're back there, but they have, as far as move forward with our Invest in Our Future campaign. This is our second year to do this. The City of Tyler's Transit Department has partnered with TJC, UT Tyler, Texas College, and Tyler ISD to promote education by creating the Invest in Our Future campaign. The campaign allows students, parents, and guardians to ride the Tyler Public Transportation System's fixed routes at no cost through August 31st when traveling to schools or other centers of higher learning. The students and their parents, guardians, will need to notify and show their school ID to the driver to receive the free ride. Any children aged 12 or under must be accompanied by an adult. On our Union Pacific Railroad quiet zone issues that we've been having, as they came by and did their recent reinspection with them and the Federal Railroad Administration, several issues were identified and the quiet zone was terminated until the issues were resolved. Two of those issues involve commercial driveways that are too close to the railroad signal arm, requiring one driveway to be closed permanently and one driveway to be modified. Quotes were solicited with several contractors to do the work necessary to each driveway. AAA Sanitation submitted the lowest price, and they anticipate beginning work next week and having that completed within 2 weeks. After the work is complete, representatives from Union Pacific Railroad and the FRA will perform a follow-up inspection to ensure that all issues have been addressed and the quiet zone can be reestablished. And also, finally, we want to take the opportunity to praise the work done by the members of the police department's community response team during the past couple of weeks. They, as far as stepped up and did preparations for School is Cool by stuffing backpacks, working at the School is Cool event, and cooks served at the Back to School celebration that Ed Moore puts on up at the Glass Recreation Center, along with volunteers from various departments, including several of our council members and Chief David Coble. They are a multi-talented and highly appreciated group of officers, and we thank them for everything they do for this city and the police department. And so, with that, Mayor.
Great, thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for your service. Okay.